I was on vacation this past week before, so I'm sort of catching back up. I'm a little bit out of the loop, trying to get myself back in. You know what happens when you step away from your studio, like turn things off and pull some cameras out to take with you. And then you get back in, you start plugging them in, and of course nothing works the way it did. You have to like get all the gremlins back out. So I've been working on getting the gremlins back out of my studio, because everything, you'd think it would be easy, but it never is. How are we all doing in the chat today? Let's see, Dale's out there. Good to see you, Dale. Good to see SK's Crappy Catching Adventures. Good to see you, SK. Good. I think I saw Iggy, my pal Iggy. This bite's for you's out there somewhere. Good to see you, pal. Tinkerman Mick, you've been blowing up. Mick is one of the guys in the Battalion members only group, and was featured as a creator on the rise on the front page of YouTube. Congratulations on that, pal. You've been crushing it. It's great to see. Great to see you really taking shorts and applying them hardcore to grow your channel. Love it. Love watching it. Let's see. Give us shout outs. I just did. I gave some shout outs. It's a shout out. Kavinda Pereira. You've been shouted out. Jay, there's my pal Jeremiah. Good to see you, buddy. How you been? I haven't talked to you in a while. Hope you're doing good. Hope the family's doing good. Let's see. Manu, how you doing, pal? So there's been a couple things since that have happened recently. With Filmora. You guys know I usually use Filmora as my daily driver. Recently I was on the Filmora Fest 2021. I did a presentation there that was a lot of fun. Filmora has a new update that's 10.5.2.4, 0.6.8, something like that. And it's got some cool new features. I put up a video the other day. I thought it was really cool. They finally brought reverb. You actually have some audio effects now in Filmora 10. They've got reverb, they've got delay, they've got a one that does makes your voice sound like you're talking like on the telephone. A couple of cool little things. Hopefully they'll expand that soon. But there's a couple other things that they added that I haven't really heard people talk about, and it's pretty cool. How you doing, Kusanarong Pinoy Vlogs? Good. How you doing? How are you? Let me give you the rock sign, the rock fist. One of the things that Tinkerman Mick, thank you very much for the super chat, my man. I want to thank you for all your help and support, you champion. It's all you, pal. You do all the work. So I'm excited to have you in the group. I'm excited to have, done some consultations with you and talked about your channel. You just go. Every time we talk, you always seem to you don't ask a lot of questions. You get right to the point, figure out what you want to do, and then you go do it. And that's wonderful to see. All the joy I get on the thing that I do is helping other creators and then watch them just take off and do the hard work and make it all happen. So thank you for the super chat, and congrats again for just crushing it. I love seeing it. I love seeing guys that I know just crushing it on YouTube. It just makes me so happy. So let me ask you guys a question in the chat. Of all the questions people have asked about Filmora, can Filmora do this? Can Filmora do that? What do you think the most commonly asked question has been that the answer has been no? Take some guesses in the chat. I get a lot. People who used to always ask me, can Filmora do motion tracking? And then they introduce motion tracking. So yes, it can do that. It's been able to do that for a while. But there's a lot of other questions. What are the kind of things that you guys think that you wish Filmora did? Because they've changed a few things, and I think some things might be there that you didn't know about. Can Filmora make me look thinner? I wish it could make me look thinner and more handsome. There's the one. Can Filmora rotoscope? Right, Cooper Music Page. That's exactly it. A lot of people always ask me, hey, how do I remove the background from my video without green screen? And it's like, that's rotoscoping. It's like you have to go in and cut around the moving image. And then you have to try to replace the background. Doug, can Filmora time travel? I wish it could. I would go back to when I was about 35. I'll give myself a few more years to practice. But yeah, so what's really funny is Filmora snuck in a feature. Now again, some of the features they've been putting out are on a paid level because they've changed the way they've done the licensing. I warned a lot of people about this. If you keep asking for more things from Filmora, two things are going to happen. One, you're going to have a better computer to run it, because with all these new features, it's going to require more system requirements just to run the thing. And beyond that, you're probably going to end up having to pay more because they have such an affordable license that they're going to have to figure out how to offset the licensing structure for all these new things they're building. And of course, both things have happened. Now people start stamping their feet like, how dare you? I wanted all of it. I wanted it to be like Premiere Pro, but I wanted it to be $50, which it never will be. And I want it to run on a Chromebook, which it never will. But there's a couple of things. So let me show you some of the new things. I showed you the audio effects, which was pretty cool. Let me see, the new audio features are amazing. Yeah, they're cool. Mohammed, I think they're a good start. You know what I like when I see that they put in audio features? It means they have now figured out how to get them into the software. We can do more with it now instead of having to always go outside of Filmora to add things like reverb. And you could always do delay. I've shown how to do that within the software itself, but we could never do reverb. So showing us that they can do a few means hopefully in the future we'll see things like compression, maybe some noise gating, maybe things like that, some limiting, so some other things that can really make your audio sound even better without having to use a separate software. So listen, let me pull this into the stream here. Let me show you this. This is some cool stuff. Let me go full screen. Give me 1 second here. Let me find out where I'm at. All right. So I think, let me grab a piece. What do I have here? I brought some kind of footage in here. Oh, it's a 9x16, not a 16x9. So here's a little junk piece of footage that I was working on. Let me see if I can crop this a little better. Let's change the aspect ratio of this project from 9x16. Let's go to project settings. Let's treat it, let's go 1x1. Let's do more like an Instagram. And you guys, if you ever want to change your project settings from 16x9 to 1x1, 9x16, 4x3, which is like the old old television standard. This is how you do it right here. 21x9 is that more cinematic stretched out look. If you do that, you're going to end up with like the black bar effect above and below. But let me go to 1x1 instead. Okay. And then let me see if I can get this to crop to fit. Crop to fit. There we go. Let me pull it down a little bit. Oh, it cropped me too much. Don't crop my head out. I don't want that. Well, some people might go, yeah, take his face out of there. The one thing we don't need is too much of Dan's face. All right, hold on 1 second. Let me get this kind of just shrunken into fit here. Okay, something like this. Okay. There's a good face, Dan. Eyes closed, eyes squinty. But there's a thing you can do. People always ask this, like, how do we remove the background? And if you go up to the effects tab, and you'll see here, there's a new section that says AI portrait. In this AI portrait mode, not all of these are free features. Again, some of the newest things they put on here, they do. I think they're subscription based. They charge you a few bucks to use them. But you see this one right here, this human segmentation, which sounds like the name of a horror film. The human segmentation, Pete. All you do is bring that down onto your footage. See, it says purchase here if you wanted to buy it, but you can try it. You can't export. But let me show you. I'll try it. See what it did? It actually removed the background. And if I go backwards here, let me see if I can get this thing to render quickly. What this will do is it actually does that thing that we've talked about. It removes the background from your footage. It can do it in a image too. So if you were like using Filmora to make a thumbnail with a single image, you could remove the background of that. Slow to render though. I think this may have been a 4K file. But it actually pulls the background out, which is something that we haven't been able to do to date. Here, let me pull this back over here so you can see it. Let's go over here. And if you see now it's, I don't want to hear my voice. Excuse me. Hold on. Let me mute this. It's now kind of cut me out, right? So it's removed the background and you just see me, which is a little tricky around my fuzzy hair and stuff. It's not perfect, but it does an all right job for a lot of people who wanted to do that. How do you remove the background of your footage without a green screen? This is now the human segmentation. Is a feature that actually does that now. So that's a pretty cool feature. And if you left click on it, as always, if you scroll down under video effects under the video tab, right, double left click on your footage in your timeline. In the upper left, it'll open up the options for whatever you've highlighted. Here's that human segmentation where you can actually adjust some of the edge thickness. Hey, look, I can make myself thinner. You can adjust some of the edge thickness and some of the edge feather, how much it's going to feather or how strong it's going to be to get it to blend the way you want it to. Or you can turn it back off again. So that's kind of cool. So for people who are asking that question about how do you remove the background without a green screen, this is a new feature that Filmora just introduced. That's kind of cool. I don't know that I'd use it a lot, but people ask me this question a lot. You know, it is kind of cool, though. They have a couple other ones here. This one, the human border. Also sounds like a horror movie. Let's try that one. It puts a border around you. So this is kind of neat, too. See, so it picks up the human and puts a border around you, which could be cool. A lot of times people will ask, like, how do you do, like, a glowing outline or something like that? That could be cool. You could probably figure out a way to do this. Let me go to the human border dropdown, and I bet you can change some of this. Let's try the... Ooh, they even have, like, you can change colors. So you could go from, like, a neon green to a pink. And let's see. You can set the size of it. So, okay. Oh, so it's top to bottom. Pink on the top, more yellow on the greenish on the bottom. You can set the opacity of it if you just want it slighter, if you want it heavy. Edge thickness. This is, remember how people always ask how to get the glowing lines to do, like, a scribble effect? You could actually push this out. The edge thickness pushes it away from you. So you could actually create a scribble effect if you wanted to. Not a perfect one, but it would work. Let's go all pink. And then it puts this sort of following border. So you can actually create, how do you do the scribble effect? You know, like dancing, people want to be outlined. You can actually do it with this feature now. And again, I don't know what the prices are. I haven't tried purchasing any of them. They're not a lot. I think they're $7 or $8 or something. It's one of the, I think it falls under their film stocks setting. If anyone knows, let me know. I haven't actually tried buying these, but they're not a lot of money. But they've been some of the new features, not all of them, just some of these newest fancy ones. They're starting to charge a few bucks for the super high end stuff. Let's see. Hey, is that Mr. Paul Peck in the house? Mr. Paul Peck, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Paul Peck. Good to see you, pal. And Stanley Orchard's in there. Stanley, hey, pal. Good to see you too. So yes, there's a couple new features that are in there that I think are worth paying attention to because they exist now. They also have, again, you can always double left click and turn those things off. You can use them in tandem too, I believe. I think you can also, you could remove the background. And then I think you can also stack the border on top. Let's see. Let me go up here. Let me drop down. Let's go to the border. Let's go to the border. Oh, I have two borders. Oh, you can put on several. I think I have more than one here. Human border, human segmentation. Oh, I've got two in there. Human border. Ooh, that's too big a border. Let me get rid of some of these extra ones I have. Apparently you can stack too many of them. Not that one, not that one. Yeah, this one. Let me turn that one off and let me add it again. But yeah, you can stack them. So you can do this kind of thing and you could get, so now you can get like an outline and sort of make yourself glow at the same time. Let me do the edge thickness here, and I think we can make this, I've had it too far out. Let me bring it right around me here, and then on the segmentation, let me make the edge thickness a little wider so that it doesn't cut off that crop. And then you can kind of combine stuff to do different effects, like an outline. It kind of has more of a meme effect to it, but you can dial these all in and create different looks with some of these new features they have. Kind of cool. They got a glitch, human noise, pixelation. Interesting to look at. They have AI stickers now. Have you guys seen these? This is sort of like, hold on, let me turn off this stuff. The stickers are kind of like on, you know, Snapchat and stuff. You can add like effects. Let me see what they are. The AR stickers are, let me see. I think you can, like you can make yourself a pirate. I'm going to make myself a pirate. So now I'm a pirate. Daniel the pirate. It works pretty good. You guys have seen these kind of things before. It's kind of silly. I think that might look better than my actual beard, though I do look good with the eye patch. I'm going to consider rocking the eye patch from now on. But as always, you just find these things and you drag them down into your timeline, and it can do things like, you know, puppy dog faces and all those kind of things. Let me see. Let me go up to here. I'll turn off the pirate, and I'll turn on the puppy dog. So silly. I don't know that I would ever use these, but everybody uses software for different reasons. So these things are all there now, and there's some different options I want to make sure you're aware of them. Most of them are up under the effects tab here. the AI portrait, AR stickers, and the audio effects that are all new here. I've talked about these ones in my latest video. You just drag them down onto your audio. You can add reverb, things like that, the phone sound, the echo. What else did they add new? I just want to quickly cover some of these new ones. Again, this is the newest version is 10.5.2. So if you don't have the newest version, don't always just go up to check for update, because sometimes it will tell you, oh, there's even a new one. There is a newer one, 10.5.3. What do you know? There's a newer one since I installed this a few days ago. So they do have a newer one. I guess the newest one's 10.5.3. If it doesn't show it to you here, go to the website. A lot of times in different parts of the country, people will go, it's not telling me it's there yet, but if you go to the filmora.wondershare.com and you just go where you'd normally download it says, download here. I think they actually say like free trial or something, but it's the download. Just download again, and it'll usually give you the latest version of whatever they have available in your region. Sometimes they roll them out in different regions at different times, so don't freak out if it's not quite there for you yet. But I do think they have the 10.5.2 for everybody, and now it looks like 10.5.3. So quick, 10.5.2 only came out like a week or two ago. And that's how quickly they're updating the software, is that they do a really good job of staying on top of it and making new changes and fixing. One of the reasons that you want to make sure you have the latest version downloaded is not just to have the latest features, but if there's any mistakes or issues that are broken, they'll do a bug fix and then put it out as a next update to make sure something that might have been crashing or not working properly, they try to adjust that. So always make sure you have, just because you hear there's a newer version doesn't mean there's new features. A lot of times it'll just run better, or they'll fix something that wasn't working quite right. Jinzo says, I wish Filmora 10 had this feature that Pro has to export the video as PNG. Oh, because for a transparent background. I don't know that they have it yet. There is a 10.5.3. I haven't looked at it. Just first time I've noticed it. I'm not going to download it right now, but that is one of the things. To like if you're going to do overlays for like your live streams and be able to export video with transparency, they haven't brought that to Filmora yet, but I'm sure that's going to be in the future. When are they going to allow 360 video to be edited? You can, my friend. His name is the Man with the Hat. If you go onto YouTube and you look up the Man with the Hat, he made a video. There's one other little free piece of software you need to use, but he edits 360 videos in Filmora. He's been doing it since Filmora 9, I believe. And he made a whole video. I pushed him. I said, hey, make a video so I can tell people where it is. So look up how to edit 360 video in Filmora with the channel is the Man with the Hat. And he'll show you exactly how to do it. And he shows you where he even has the link to download the other little piece of free software you need. He nails it. He gets perfect 360. So yeah, you can do it. I want to remove the background. You're in luck, my friend. I just showed you how. Make sure you watch the replay of this. It's a cool new feature. Let me just quickly look at the chat here. Can you give a quick tutorial on Thunder or Neon Eyes? Did I miss a super chat? I'm sorry. Hold on a second. Sometimes I miss these. I did. I'm sorry. East Coast Slots, $10. Thank you very much, my friend. What private group were you talking about earlier? Also, I thought the StreamYard game show was awesome, and I hope you do it again. Yes, thank you. Thank you for the super chat, East Coast Slots. We are doing, Dee Niman and I are doing live channel reviews on the StreamYard channel every month. It's scheduled for the, let me see, I think it's the second Saturday of every month, and the time has been changing. We've been playing with time slots, but it's the second Saturday of the month. I always try to post it up on my channel too, but yeah, we're going to do that every single month. So come on by. We give away actually a lot of great stuff. We give away t-shirts and cups and mugs and StreamYard gear. And I just thank StreamYard for sponsoring the content we do right here. These live streams are brought to you by StreamYard. It's the software I use to live stream right now. It allows me to do great stuff like share these screens and do all these things and put in all these overlays, which is fantastic. So I love the software. If you haven't tried StreamYard, it's absolutely free to register an account and start live streaming today, up to 20 hours a month for free. And they do have pro level licenses, so you can get more features and get more hours out of it. But the links are down below. And I also like to thank our good friends over at Spreadshop. Spreadshop is my one and only favorite go-to merchandise company that makes all these really awesome, cool mugs. Whenever you've seen me with any of my shirts, let me see. I got to do this. Hold on. Let me get that. Where are you, Spreadshop? There we are. They've all of the shirts I make and merchandise you see that's pinned in the chat, coffee mugs, t-shirts, backpacks, hats, you name it. They make all of it. And you can sign up and create a free Spreadshop yourself. It costs you nothing. And you can start making money online right away using Spreadshop. I also have links down in the description below as well if you're interested in selling merch on your channel, because it does integrate with the YouTube merch shelf. Or even if you don't have the merchandise shelf, or even if you're not monetized, you can create a Spreadshop, put the link down in your description or in your pinned comment. Start selling stuff today. Great way to make money. I always try to find cool ways for creators to figure out new revenue streams. And Spreadshop not only is a great resource for that, but they also sponsor content here on this channel, which allows me to do these kinds of live streams. So yeah, thanks to both of them. Let's see. I wish Filmora had a compression suite, I guess. I use Handbrake at the moment. Oh, yeah. You're right, like a built-in compression tool. Yeah, I use Handbrake too because it's free. So you can take a video file that was bigger and you can squash it down and make it take up less space. It does, it still looks pretty good. I think that Handbrake is the tool for that. For anybody, I have a video on that, by the way, for anybody looking to shrink the size of their video so they still look pretty good, but the physical data size on there, if you want to compress it, Handbrake, handbrake.fr, I believe is the website. Let's see. Yumi in Sicily. Daniel, seriously, how you doing, Esther? Seriously thinking of switching to Filmora. Thank you for doing these informative videos. Yeah, Filmora is great. I don't know what you're using now, but I love Filmora. The price is right. They make a solid software. I'm going to show you a couple things that you may not be able to do. Daniel Batal, sir, has a new intro by holding the cup and drinking sometimes cold tea. Yeah, there you go. Well, sometimes it depends on what I'm drinking. Sometimes it's coffee. Sometimes it's stronger coffee. It all depends. I usually have too many mugs going on. Water, coffee, you name it. iMovie, that's a solid way to start too. Let me share this back over again. If you have some questions, feel free to ask them. I'll do my best to get to them. So there's some of the new features in case you guys hadn't seen them. There's also a new reframe feature. I don't know if I showed anybody that yet. If you have a piece of footage up here, if you look in the upper left, I have this 9x16 piece of footage. If you right-click on that up in the import window, see this thing, it says Auto Reframe. It will take this, it'll find the motion that's happening in this, and you could say like, oh, I want to reframe this down to a 1x1. And you know how like if you tried to cut it to 1x1, maybe if you were moving, you'd move out of frame. It actually kind of motion tracks whatever's moving, and you can set it, and then it'll analyze it, and it'll chop it down and make it a 1x1, or you could take a 16:9 video that you want to use for like a, turn it into a 9x16, and you can change it to 9x16, and it kind of motion tracks and reframes it. That's kind of a neat feature. I haven't used it a ton. It doesn't cost anything, but it is a new feature that's in here. If you're interested in trying to quickly edit a piece of, look at the dog face, piece of content into a different aspect ratio that has a lot of motion. Like sometimes you'll take something and cut it down, and because you've cut it down and cropped it, it doesn't display well. It gets like things move out of frame. So this kind of tracks if you're in the frame and you're moving, it'll follow you. So it'll keep that 1x1 and keep you centered in frame. Kind of neat. They've done some kind of cool things lately. I wanted to show you something. I had done something recently on the Filmora Fest that a lot of people were asking me about. I've talked about it before, and it's the ability to change the directions of things. It's something I talk about a lot, but I get this question all the time. Like when I did the Indiana Jones map animation, and the transition went from one side to the other, people kept asking me, well, how do you do it the other way? Like a lot of the transitions in Filmora only go one way. Let me show you this really quick because I showed people it and they kept asking me questions. Let me grab a couple sample videos. I'm going to make this full size. If I take two pieces of content and bring these down, there we go. There's two sample videos, okay? So there's one right from Filmora. The guy's getting on the bike and then the bike driving away. Let me do something that's more distinct. Let me try like maybe the countdown. Okay, so here's the, let me get those together. Okay, and then here's like a countdown, right? I want to remove part of this. I don't like that beginning. Let me delete this out of there. So now I've got two different pieces of footage, right? People on a bike, and then there's this countdown. Well, there's some transitions that are in Filmora that people use a lot. The one I used in the Indiana Jones map animation was the erase slide. Another one is called the push, but either one of them kind of do a similar thing. Let me see if I can find that push one. Here's the push. So it has push, right? Let me just shrink this down. And if you notice when you play this, it will push. You see how it pushed? I can go a little bit longer than that. You see how that pushed? It pushes from the left side and to the right. So that's what it does. It makes it feel like that piece of footage is sliding over. That's what that transition is, right? And a lot of times people ask me, hey, I wish they would make a transition that went the other way, that pushed the other way, because there's no specific option for making this go in another direction. That's also true of the erase slide I did when I did the Indiana Jones map animation and I made it expose the line. It was an erase slide that went in one direction, and people went, yeah, that's great if you're going west to east, but what if you're going east to west or, you know, some other direction? There's a real simple trick I want to show you here. If you had this, and see how these are bikes and you're pushing left, see how it moves off to the right, left to right, and that slides in? If you wanted this to go the other way, let me show you what you could do. Click on your first piece of footage down in the timeline, and in the upper left, under Transform, see this little flip button right here? Flip. Turn it upside down. And then on the second half, let me get over here. Do the same thing. Double left click on the other piece of footage in your timeline. Go up to the Transform and flip that as well. So now both pieces are upside down. Okay, still pushing off to the right, but it's upside down. And now let's do what I've told you guys 1,000 times, what we call a bounce. All right, so we're going to take this and we're going to export it. We'll just call it, we'll call it a flip. Flip, and we'll put it right on the desktop. I like to put things out at a reasonably high resolution. We'll do 80,000 Kbps. I don't care about the bitrate of the audio because there's none here. And I'll say, okay, and I'm going to bounce this. This just means I'm going to export this, and then I'm going to bring it back in, okay? So now I'll go back up to the media file. I'll go to import media files, and where's that flip? Here's flip. All right, now I don't need this stuff in my timeline anymore. Let me get rid of it. I'm going to delete that. Let me bring down my flip. And all I did was, now it's all one video file, right? All I did was, this is what I call a bounce. I sent everything out, combined it into one video track, and now it's all upside down, okay? Now, what you want to do is left click, double left click down on your timeline. See how it highlights this up here? Find that little handle, it's right up top, and rotate this up, rotate this 180 degrees. So it's completely upside down. Try to make it straight. Don't be jittery and coffeeed out like me. Put that back where it belongs, right? And I think it's there. Now look what happens. Now everybody's right side up, and watch the push. Watch which way the push goes. Boom. You see that? It went from right to left because we rotated it. We flipped the footage upside down and we rotated it, and now it's doing this. My 3 is backwards. I probably should have rotated the that in the media file. So bad example for that one, but now it flips it over. What you can't do, let me undo all of this. What you can't do is you can't just go up to Transform and flip it here, because that flips it. Let's see if I can explain this. There's two different, rotating something spins it 180 degrees. Flipping it flips it like a mirror. So when we flip it like a mirror, that's why the 3 was backwards. So I probably should have rotated it up in the right window. If this was like a picture of an arrow, okay, pointing that direction, and I flip that arrow this way, it would still be pointing that direction. That's why you can't use the Transform flip to try to get the transition to move the other way. You literally need to rotate it up in the upper right, because what you want to do is rotate it and have it point the other way. So that's how the transition moves the other way. But a lot of people ask me that, like, how do I get the transition to move the other way? Use the rotation in the upper right. Sometimes the flip will work in certain scenarios, like the guys on the bike, it didn't matter. But with that countdown, number 3, it went backwards, right? We went, oh, we didn't know, if we wanted to make sure that the 3 read properly, if there's words on there, then instead of just rotating it up in the upper left, rotate it in the upper right, literally turn it upside down. So we're not we're not doing a mirror image of it. But that's a simple way that you can go back or forth with some of these things. Like, I wish the transition went the other way. Well, now it does. Just learn how to rotate things. Do you have a good laptop or PC? I have laptops, 2 supercomputers down under there. I've got an M1 Apple, the Mac Mini. So I use a quite a variety of different things, whatever it works. I'm a PC guy at heart, and PCs are really what I like to edit on. I've always used PC. I build my own PCs, but they've been so expensive for the parts lately with the graphics cards. Jennifer Lavoie, hey, thanks for the $10 super chat. I haven't seen any affiliate link for Filmora X, so I'll just go ahead and buy it, and here's your cut. Thanks for the great content. Yeah, you know what happened? Filmora kicked me out of their affiliate program. I don't know why. Just one day they randomly kicked me out, and I messaged them and I went, "Did you guys really just kick me out of your affiliate program?" I don't know if it was intentional or accidentally, but I never really used the affiliate link anyway, because it was never about me making money. I wanted to teach people how to use Filmora, and Filmora used to sponsor content on my channel. I just didn't want, they wanted me to do a lot of things that I didn't want to do all the time, so we kind of part ways. I still talk about Filmora, but they don't sponsor content here anymore, just because they sort of they wanted every video on my channel to be Filmora, and that's just not really how I operate. But I love them; they're great people, and they make great software. But I appreciate the super chat. That's very nice of you, Jennifer. And it is a great software. Oh, hold on though. Wait a second before you buy it. Here, because I'm not beholden to anybody. One of the things, let me see if I can do this. Megan, I'm going to give you a link, and I want you to put it in chat. If you haven't purchased Filmora, the licensing structure has changed. If you buy a new license now, what it is it only applies to Filmora 10. And when they eventually change to 11, the license won't apply. But on one of their old link sites, not only do they have a discount, it's cheaper. I think it's $59 instead of $79. But they also still sell the full lifetime license, as far as I know, because I use it to buy the Mac version. See, I pay for my licenses. I bought the Mac version because I had the other link and I knew I had the discount code there. And when I went there, it allowed me to buy it. It might even say Filmora 9 or something on it, but it does. It gives you the latest version. But I think this link gives you still gives you the full lifetime license that applies to ones moving forward. Don't quote me on that. But if nothing else, it'll save you some money. So let me quickly find it, and I'll have my girl Meg put this right into the chat for anyone who's interested. Meg, I'm going to send you this in Messenger. Give me 1 second. Trying to do the right thing here. Watching Filmora will be yelling at me. Why are you giving links like that away? Take that whole link, Megan, and just share that into the in the chat. And it does. It was one I found on mobile, but it works anywhere, and it still says like. This still says like Filmora 9, but it's an actual Filmora link. I think it's from their .net site. Save you some money, and I think it still gets you the old version, which is cool. So you don't have to worry about buying new licenses in the future. Do I use After Effects? I don't, because After Effects only really they work in a few softwares. They don't work in Filmora. After Effects is an Adobe product, and I don't really use Adobe. I use Filmora. I use Movavi. I've been using Davinci Resolve lately. I haven't bought the studio version. I've been using the free version, but the free version is insane. Megan, make sure you put a space. Just put the link. It looks like that link may be it might be crushed against the other thing. So repost it as a clickable link. Make sure it is clickable if it isn't. I just want to make sure you guys have it. And yeah, so I don't use Adobe right now. What's my internet speed? Probably about a full gig down and maybe 40 or 50 up. It's not great. I pay for Comcast gigabyte internet, but everybody tries to give you download speeds, and I'm like, I'm a YouTuber. I need upload speeds, so it's not bad. You need more, like 10 or 12 up solid to do like good, HD live streaming and stuff, and pretty quick uploads. Like I said, I get about 40 or 50 at about an 11 ping. Works. It'll do the trick. Let me see some questions. I'm still trying to figure out how to do the wheel spin with Filmora. The wheel spin. Let me see. There was a newer one where you can rotate. I had shown how to do that. Let me see if I can pull something up quickly, like a wheel spin, like to make. Oh, just hit me. You're joking. Eric, it'll hit me. You know, it's like the coffee hasn't kicked in yet. But that is, everyone always asks me how to do like a spinning rotation thing. 3D rotate. Yeah. 3D rotate. You can't do a 3D rotate in Filmora because you can't, and Filmora 10, because you can't rotate anything on its axis. In Filmora 10, you can only rotate this way. You can only spin things this way. And you can keyframe motion. So you could do things like, here, let me show you. You could take a piece of footage like this, left click down in your timeline, go up in the upper left, click on animation and choose customize, and just add a keyframe so it starts where it is. And then you could say move the playhead forward, and then left click on it there. And if you do any motion here, it's going to automatically add another keyframe. See how it just did that? And there's this big green arrow to the next keyframe because you're telling it, I want it to be something other than what it was. Right? So you could go like this. Eric, this is how you do the wheel spin. If this was a wheel, hey, there is a wheel up there. It's a bike wheel. So there we go. Now he's upside down 180 degrees. So if I go back, it has spun this footage like that, right? Now, if I wanted to keep spinning it, I could go, okay, let me go all the way. You could do whatever you want. You can get a full 360 degree. Let me go maybe to here, right? Let me double left click on it. And once again, I'm going to rotate this. Whoop. I'm going to rotate this all the way back around the full spin, right? God. I got like shaky hands from coffee today. All right, so I'm just using keyframing here. And Filmora automatically fills in the blanks, right? I started with a single keyframe, and then anytime wherever the playhead was, whatever I did to the footage up in the upper right, it adds a keyframe and remembers, oh, at this point you did that. So now if I go forward, here's your wheel spin. Here's like a rotating piece of footage, right? And that's all that was, is just using keyframe to create rotation. So if we ever run into our wheel spin friend, Eric, teach him how to keyframe. Daniel, how are you? What was for breakfast? I didn't eat breakfast yet. I'm not a big breakfast guy when I'm working. I tend to just drink coffee. Nothing yet, but I'm doing good. Doctor's saying to Daniel, you 0.0001% British coffee, anyone? I don't know, am I? I'm like half Lebanese and then like half German. Such a weird mongrel mix of people. Hello, I love your videos. I bought Filmora 9 and now using 10. I have an old Sony laptop. Yeah, you're going to find, Amar, that as Filmora adds new features, your older laptop is going to struggle if you put like a lot of tracks and run a lot of effects and a lot of transitions. One of the things I always tell people, sometimes not everyone can afford to go get a brand new laptop or a brand new computer. One of the things I tell people a lot is if you start to struggle, don't be afraid to take the things in your project that you aren't going to change. Like if you've already done the color correction and you've added some transitions and you know, and you've got everything in there exactly cut the way you wanted it to, what you can do is like before you add the text and things like that, you can bounce that footage, basically export everything, even though the project's not done, combine it into one file, bounce all the things that are in that project into one file, export at a high resolution and bitrate, bring it back in, and now you've got one video file that Filmora it's all that stuff is applied, and then you can go ahead and add things like text on top of it, and that will allow you to do more with your video editing software than your system was allowing, because if it has to do it all at once, like if you have a project with a lot of tracks and it's got effects and it's got text on it and it's animations, every time you hit the play button and it goes through it, it's trying to do all those things in real time. Whereas some of those things you might say, I'm done. That's all I wanted it to do. I just wanted to add some text and do some other things. All the color correction, it's reading in real time, as opposed to bouncing it, applying all that stuff, and now it just looks at it as a video file. It's not applying all those things to it anymore because it's already been exported and brought back in. It's a good trick for if you have an older computer. I used to do that with my original Filmora projects because I had like a $300 computer I bought from Walmart. And then I had to slowly build up and get better stuff. But you know, I would if I started adding a lot of tracks, Filmora would lag. So to get it to do more, I'd get it to the point where it started having trouble, and then I'd bounce the footage, and that allowed me to keep going and add more stuff. Affinity Photo, good for doing thumbnails, great for doing thumbnails. Great, it's all I use. It's as good as Photoshop, and it's one price. Photoshop you have to pay subscription fees every year. Affinity is like, just until recently, they were selling, it's like $50 usually, $49.99, and they have sales all the time. They just had a sale they got through that was $25, $24.99, lifetime license, all the updates. Pfft, can't beat that. Can't beat that. How can I make a beautiful intro for a gaming channel? I have a couple of things on my, if you look up intros on my channel, I show different ways to make intros. One thing you're going to notice that I do on this channel, I don't try to show people exactly how to do things. I try to teach technique, because if you're looking to make an intro, you're going to need to learn how to do things like learning how to zoom in, learning how to use animations, learning how to color correct, learning how to add text. I don't want to show, if I show you exactly how to do something, it's like, you know, the old adage about, if you give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. If you teach a man to fish, he'll eat for a lifetime, right? So the thing I'm always trying to do is not just show, oh, I get these requests all the time, like, oh, you know that thing you did? Can you show me how to do that for a gaming channel? All of the same rules apply. It doesn't matter if you're a gaming channel, or if you're a cooking channel, or if you're a vlogging channel about travel and whatever. You're going to have to learn all the editing basics, learn how to cut, learn how to edit, learn how to use transitions, learn how to color correct, learn how to add text. And as you learn each one of these steps, then it's super easy for you to do things like make intros, make outros, make whatever you want. I got to be perfectly honest with you. If you're making content for YouTube, lose the intro. Nobody cares about your intro. People aren't there for intros. They're there for the content. So try to do that. Let's see. Okay, who was it? HK, who was it? Let me see. What did I miss? Thanks, Iggy, for calling out. Can you make a video on the background sound that make video awesome? Yeah, I've done it. If you go to this is one of the things, they're there. I think I'd always tell people, go to my channel and use the search bar. I did one recently that was all about how to make videos seem cinematic. And not only did I show how to do video editing, I did a whole soundscaping thing that I used Reaper, and I've shown how to use Reaper. If you go onto my channel, it's all kinds of content about how to download Reaper, where to find it, how to install it. And I did an epic soundscape. I think there was 16 or 18 tracks that was all just huge background, reverb effects, compression, how to edit. So I've done plenty of those. Just go onto my channel and take a peek. Let's see. Perspective text. Is that possible in Filmora? No. You mean perspective, like, again, that's the ability to turn things on there. So in Filmora, you can turn things this way, right? You can rotate this way. But if you want to do perspective, it means you have to rotate them on their X or Y axis, meaning you'd want to take text and go like this or like this. And you can't do that in Filmora 10 currently, but you can do it in Filmora Pro. So if it's something you really need to do, then Filmora Pro is the answer. And maybe someday they'll add it in Filmora 10, maybe it'll be in Filmora 11 or something. Can you do more videos on Filmora Pro? I'm not doing a whole bunch of Filmora videos. I don't use Pro that much. I use it sometimes. I do have some on my channel. I might do more in the future if they come up with something I think is really cool. I'm a technique guy. I really try to show you guys technique. It's not just about learning the software. I have over 100 videos on my channel on Filmora. There's pretty much, and countless live streams where I've done just like this today. There's not too many things I haven't talked about. It's all on my channel. So it's really about going into my catalog and just going through it and learning the stuff I've taught. Hey, Daniel, please upload Premiere Pro tutorial. I'm not a fan of Premiere Pro because it's expensive. And I think Davinci Resolve is better. And Davinci Resolve, the free version, is excellent. And the Pro version is still $300, where Premiere Pro is $249 a year every year. Not a fan of the subscription-based stuff. And it has issues. Sometimes it lags out because it has a lot of system demand. But if you want to learn about Premiere Pro, go to my friend Lila, L-I-L-A. If you want to find her, just go onto YouTube search bar and put Lila from YouTube, L-I-L-A from YouTube. She does nothing but Premiere Pro type tutorials. She does other stuff, but that's her software advice, and she's great. I'm going to have her on the channel one of these days. Trying to get her is tricky. She's usually really busy. Daniel, should I buy Filmora Pro? I have Filmora 10 Lifetime, but I'm not getting the color correction and HD definition. No. I mean, you can. I'm not going to tell you not to buy Pro, but if you want good color correction, if you want great color correction, go download Davinci Resolve. It's free, okay? Davinci Resolve's free version crushes everything else out there. Tons of features. It's 7 different panels, including the ability to use audio effects, VST plugins. It's a monster. It's a monster. And it's got all the things you need. There are some features that it doesn't have that they held. You have to pay for the studio version, but it's the super high level stuff, like stuff, you know, you'd have to be way, way deep into editing to miss it. The free version of Davinci Resolve hands down has the best color correction on the market. It was a color correction tool before they built it all the way out to a full editing software. Go get Davinci Resolve. I think it's on 17 beta, Davinci Resolve 17. They have 16, which is not in beta. It's funny, they put things out and they stay in beta for a long time while they're working through it because it's such a big software. But you can download it for free. It's going to use more system resources than Filmora 10, but so does Filmora Pro. And you'll get way better color correction out of Davinci Resolve than you will from Filmora Pro. Not knocking Filmora Pro, but why pay for something when you can get great color correction and HD definition from something that's readily available? Montage video on Filmora. Now. Montages are easy. It's just a simple, this is funny. Everyone always asks me, like, how do you do a montage? Well, it's really simple. You just take a bunch of footage and you put it together. A montage is usually you're taking pieces of video that you have. You know, a lot of times you'll put them over and I've done these, you'll do them over like maybe an audio track, right? So you bring down and you just kind of put your footage together and you decide how you're going to transition. Are they hard cuts? Do they, you know, they just swap from one to the other like a hard cut? Are you going to put a transition in between? That's how you do a montage, is you just film your sections. And then if you want to put audio over it, not that I would ever use the audio from Filmora because they have all kinds of issues with copyright strikes. But what you can do, let me do that. One thing I do like about Filmora, if you right click on a piece of audio up in the upper left and hit beat detection, it'll run beat detection on that software. And then when you bring it down into your timeline, see it puts these little red dots on there. Let me see, I can change that beat detection. Beat options, let's go every like 8 instead. How about that? Okay, that'll give us more beats. Beats analyze. I have to bring it down again though. Okay, now it should have more beats. Okay, so let me shrink this down, and you see how it has these little red dots, so you can go, yeah, I'm going to put my video changes right on the beat, so that you can actually have it. You know, these are short pieces of footage. If you use longer footage, you could have everyone change and just cut your footage right on the beat. These ones are only a couple seconds long. But if you have longer footage, then you can do your montage by dropping your footage right on the beat. And see how it clicks right to the marker? And now you know that your montage will actually be to the beat of the music. Nice, simple way to do montages. Are there any plugins or something to add sound effects and transitions in Filmora 10 without adding the individual audio files? Are there any plugins or something to add sound effects for transition effects in Filmora 10 without adding the individual? No. There's no plugins that work with Filmora other than they have on film stocks. They build stuff that's designed to work inside of Filmora 10. So you can get like packs, effects packs, they have sound packs. But if you have a transition and you want to have like a whooshing sound, you answered your own question. You want to like just get a whooshing sound and put it in an audio track underneath, and then apply it, which would be true of any software. That's not just Filmora. Most softwares do not have like click a button and all of a sudden all your transition have sound effects attached. You usually have to apply an audio to it, but it's pretty simple. You know, you can see a transition. Pretty simply. You know, if you have two pieces of footage that are together, let me close this out. Sorry. All you have to do is find your transition, bring down whatever that transition may be, like where was the push? Is that what I did last time? If I had a push between these two, let me simplify this so that I can, so it'll make more sense in the timeline. Let's get rid of all of this stuff. Okay, so now I've got two pieces of footage with a simple transition in between them, okay? And it's a good question, too. A lot of times people are like, well, how do I want to make it have like a sound. All you have to do is find an audio file. And a lot of times a great place to do that is actually In YouTube, they have the YouTube audio library right inside of YouTube Studio that has a lot of free effects. And all you got to do is import if you have any sound effects. I think I have some here. Let me see if I can find sound effects. Do I? I think I have some in here. Let me see where it would be. So many things on so many files. Let me see if I have sound effects in here. You hear sound effects. So you just find like a sound effect that you like, right? Maybe that's I like this one. I don't remember where I got this from. I think it may have been from YouTube. It's punches. So it sounds like, what am I doing? Yeah, I can bring it down there. And it just basically, it's like the whoosh of like a punch, you know what I mean? Like how a punch makes that sound like, whoosh, you know, like, and all you do is see in the timeline right here. This is a series of them. I can turn this up, grab it and turn it up a bit. This is many different whooshes. So I'll just put this here. I will cut that footage. I'll get rid of the rest of them. And then right where the trend, see where the split is? Then just make sure that your sound happens right at that point. And then when you play it, it'll give it that kind of a whoosh, you know. I do that a lot with text too. A lot of times when I add text, if it like text comes in as like a lower third and it like scoots in underneath in the lower corner, I'll add like a little punching whoosh and it'll be like whoosh. And then when it goes away, I'll be like, and add it again. And those little sound effects can, they just add a little bit of extra color to your, and by a color, I mean like aesthetically, it makes the video feel richer. Don't turn them up real loud. Just keep them slightly in the background, and subconsciously people are like, wow, that was cool. The text actually made noise when it came in and out, but it's just adding simple effects. Takes a couple of seconds. Let's see. Yeah, absolutely. Click that like button. Please do. I'm going through some of these questions in here. When I edit and stack too much video or photo layers, it might lag due to high quality. Yeah, like I said, bouncing, great way to do it. A couple other things you want to do, how to get more out of your software. 3 things you want to do. One, you want to make sure in the upper left, see here it says File, scroll down and go to Preferences, and make sure over on the Performance tab, if you're lagging out a lot, go over here. First thing, make sure you have both of these clicked, the Enable Hardware Acceleration for your graphics card, because you want to make sure that if that's the GPU acceleration is off, you're going to have a harder time working with the project files. This will expedite how your GPU handles these files. If these are gray and you don't have the ability to click them, it's probably because your graphics card is not supported by YouTube. You have an older system. That means you need to update your graphics card so you can use GPU accelerated acceleration, and a lot of the effects in Filmora are GPU accelerated. So things like the shake effect, if you have an older graphics card, some of those things won't show up or they won't work properly because your graphics card can't handle GPU accelerated effects. So make sure you have you exceed significantly the minimum system requirements. But if you're trying to deal with some of this, see how right here automatically says automatically create proxy files when the media resolution is higher than full HD 1920 by 1080. Set that down to 1280 by 720. So that's lower HD, still HD, but it's not full HD. And set that. And what that'll do is any of your video files, when you bring them in, if they're above 720, meaning if they're full 1080 HD clips, it'll automatically convert them to a lower resolution proxy file that it'll use along the way. And if you see, that's what that is, proxy files. And it will make proxy files that are basically lower resolution files that it's using during the edit. But when you export, it switches to the full high definition ones. It's really good for when you're using like 4K clips. What'll happen is you're trying to run 4K and do all these things at the same time, and it can bog down your computer if you got an older computer. Use proxy files in the edit. It doesn't use them on the export, but in the edit, it'll use smaller files that don't have as much information on them, and it makes the program run smoother. Another thing over here too is if you look like right under the preview window. Hold on a second. Let me go full screen. Under the preview window here, see this? It defaults to half resolution. You can go down to quarter resolution if you want to see. Sometimes people think it's too fuzzy looking. You can go to full resolution, but half is the default, but you can always go less. You can go down to a quarter resolution. It's just for reference. It doesn't look terrible. It just looks a little fuzzy because a lot of times you don't need to have perfect image up on the right. You just need to make sure that you're getting your cuts in the right places and things. And if you decrease the resolution here, it won't look as crisp up here, but it's just the playback window. It's not affecting your export. It just makes it easier for it to run while you're actually in the project. So some simple things there. And of course the render, we talk about this, the render button here. If you render your project, it's always going to run smoother. It sort of creates predisposed files that already have some of the things applied. So Filmora is not trying to apply each effect as it comes up. It's sort of rendered it into position and it allows it to run smoother. Simple things like that. If you're having issues with your computer lagging, the perfect answer is you really want to think about upgrading your system over time. It takes a little time and money, no doubt about it. But that's just how it is. Those are some of the tricks that'll make things move a little smoother for you. YouTube Audio Library and Epidemic Sound has some great sound effects. Absolutely. YouTube Audio Library does. Storyblocks is good too. Epidemic Sound is great. But Epidemic Sound and Storyblocks are both paid assets, whereas YouTube's Audio Library is free. And the only thing is you have to, the content has to be hosted on YouTube. You can't use the YouTube Audio Library stuff and then go make videos for like a client or make it for someone's website. The stuff all has to be hosted on YouTube. It can be embedded somewhere else. You can go to your website and embed a YouTube video, but that's fine. It just has to be hosted. As long as it's hosted on YouTube, then all that stuff is free. Let me see. I'm just trying to quickly read through some of these. Let's see. Roax says, Roac Roy. Hey, Daniel, just to say thank you. I love your tutorials. It's better than the official tutorials from Filmora. I appreciate that. I'm always trying to do something a little different. I'm always trying to think about technique and think outside the box. My goal was never just to show you, but I like to do these every now and then and show you how to do a couple things to make your projects run smoother or make the software do something you didn't think it could do. Or try to get through the project easier, or show you when there's a new feature that's kind of cool that you may not have seen. But in general, I'm not. Filmora has a YouTube channel that does a great job of showing you all that stuff. What are the specs of your PC? Which one? Which one? I have several. There's a lot of gear around here, my friend. The main one that I edit with, the one that I'm running right now, it's a Ryzen 9. The graphics card is a Radeon 6800 XT, so it's one of the newer graphics card that's really expensive now. I run 2 terabyte SSD. I run 64 gigabytes of RAM. So yeah, I mean it's pretty specced out. I like things to run smoothly, So I run pretty high end stuff because I'm running the software while we're live streaming, and so I need something that can run pretty smooth. When I apply the cinematic border, the video gets a bit cropped top and bottom. Is there a solution for it to fit perfectly? And yeah, what you want to do is don't just add those borders, okay? That's sort of a cheating way to make things look cinematic. Is sometimes people think, oh, I'm going to make things look cinematic by clicking on, hold on. Is that Blaine? Blaine, how you doing? Hey, Daniel, signed up with Spreadshop through your link over the weekend. Good stuff. Looking forward to catching up next week. Yeah, I am too, Blaine. Thank you for the super chat. I can't wait to talk to you again, too. We've got another session booked. Blaine's on a skyrocketing mission to crush YouTube, and he's doing it really well. Thank you for the super chat, Blaine, and I'm glad you signed up to Spreadshop. It's really cool. They're a great company. You're going to love them. And thanks again for the super chat. When it comes to creating cinematic look, guys, people think that those black bars, top and bottom, is created by putting black bars over a regular piece of footage, and that's not true. What you want to do is make sure that your project is filmed. When you film something, film it in a bigger aspect ratio. Let me see if I have. Let me see if I can find one here. Hold on one second. Let me see. I did film some stuff in 21:9. Let me just see if I can find it quickly, and you'll see the difference. I'm trying to remember which one it was. I think it was how to make things look cinematic. Cinematic sound. Cinematic. I can't remember where. Let me see if I can find it quickly. 1 second. Yeah, I think this is it. Oh, hold on. One more time. Let me try this. Okay. So let me pull this up really quickly. If you look right here, this piece of footage, let me see if it'll show me on the properties. You can see the resolution. That's also the aspect ratio. It's 3440 by 1440. That is a 21:9 aspect ratio. So if I bring this down into here, right, it's going to ask me, do you want it to stay at 3440 by 1440, 60 frames per second? Yes, I do. So if you look, can you see how wide this looks? See how wide that looks right there? That is a true, I haven't added any black bars. I've actually made this footage where I filmed it in 21:9. And then the project settings, because it's matched, the project settings is that, see right here on the aspect ratio, 21:9, because it matched my footage. 21:9 means it's a different aspect ratio. 16:9 is standard. That's what you usually see on YouTube, right? Or a large screen. That's standard large 16:9 is like taking your phone and turning it this way. That's 16:9, that's 9:16. Now, when you go 21:9, that means it's actually wider than 16:9. So what it does to make it fit on the screen, it has to squish it, it has to move it, to make it a little smaller. And when it makes it smaller to fit the full 21 in, that means that there's black bars that are added above and below. Those aren't real black bars. That's just screen space that's not being occupied by your video, okay? That's why it's really important to understand that real cinematic has to do with aspect ratio, not just adding black bars and doing things like that. So make sure you understand if you're going to film in either 21:9, which is true cinematic. Some people like to do 2:1. 16:9 is not quite 2:1, right? Because 9 times 2 is 18. So 18:9 would be 2:1. So if you do a 2:1 aspect ratio, it'll give you a slight bar up top and bottom. My friend Jay Littman likes to film in 2:1 because if you ever noticed, if you watch a YouTube video on a mobile device, there's actually a little bit of space left and right. Let me see if I can find one of mine. I'll show you real quickly if I can do this. Let me pull up a video really quickly. Here's a video of mine. Okay, hold on. Let me go full screen. Can you see, let me see if I can get this close enough and you'll see what we're talking about. This is a little, let me see if I can get this up close. Here's one of my videos. Can you see right here, see how there's a little black on the one side of it and there's a little bit of black on the other side? And if you like double tap on the screen, usually I can make it stretch out. I can stretch it out. There it is. If I stretch it out, right, there's the black bars on the left and right. And if I pinch and stretch it, now it fits the screen, but it's cropped it a little bit. So if you want to fit more of your video on the screen, go for a 2:1 aspect ratio when you film and when you edit your project. Now, if you're using your phone or something and it doesn't really film in a 2:1, the way to do that is push your camera back a bit. Make sure you're a little deeper. And if you give yourself a little more room, then when you go to crop it, you can crop in a little bit and you've left extra space in your footage so that the crop doesn't take away things that are super important. You know, just move your camera back a little bit. It'll give you a little more than you wanted to have in your footage, and then you can crop it down. So there's different ways to do that. I've talked about that in the past on my channel, different ways to create cinematic effect. But cinematic effect is really about your aspect ratio, not just overlaying black bars, which Filmora does have an option where it sticks these black bars on, but it doesn't display properly. So you want to make sure you learn those tricks. Let's see, you upscale all of your 1080 to 4K when rendering. So, yep. Yeah, that's what I do. I do the same thing, Guns of Glory. What I do is when I export my content, like if I have a piece of footage here, I do the exact same thing. Because if I go to export something, what I'll do is, now this is a big piece of footage here, but on something that is not, let's try this little vertical one. This is a vertical piece of format of video. It's 1080 by 1920, right? 9:16, but still HD. If I were going to export this, a lot of times what I'll do is I'll step it up. I'll go to the settings, and instead of 1080 by 1920, I'll do a custom resolution where it's like maybe it's I'll reverse it. I'll do like 2160 by 3840, and basically my footage is still filmed in HD, standard 1080, but what I do is I export it in Ultra HD. That doesn't change the crop. And then when I send it off to YouTube, they think it's 4K, so they give you more bandwidth. So when you're watching it back on YouTube, so a very standard thing would be that if you filmed everything in 1920 by 1080, full 1080 HD, when you export it in Ultra HD, 31. I always forget I'm so bad at specs. You'd think I could remember these things. When you export, you could export at Yeah, 3840 by 2160. And what that will do is it'll give you an export where you took something that was in 1080, but you exported it in 4K, and then YouTube thinks it's 4K. They treat it like 4K. They give you more bandwidth, and then your simple 1080 footage looks better than other people's, just because they think it's 4K. Look at Foot Doctor Zach coming in with a $50 super chat. Holy guacamole! Thank you, sir. That's a huge one. Do I have any? I really should have some, like. There we go. That's for you, my friend. People are clapping for you. Thank you so much. Sorry, Dan, I only take advice from people with 201,000 subs. I do have standards. Thank you so much. Yes, I did cross the 200,000 subscriber mark. Foot Doctor Zach, who's racing up towards it too. It's gonna be a minute before you're passing me. Your content has been so good, and your channel's been growing so strong. You're gonna be right up there soon. There's gonna be a silver play button on your wall before you know it. I'm really psyched for how well you've been doing on the platform. Another guy from our members group. We talk about that all the time. I do have a members group. If you see under this video, there should be a join button. It's not available in all areas, but we do have a members only group where we talk about strategy and video editing and growing YouTube channels all the time. It has its own private Facebook group, and I live stream to that group only, so you have to be a member to be in there, where we actually pull up channels and dive in deep and talk about that kind of stuff. Zach is in there. He's been doing great. So thank you again for that crazy super chat. I really appreciate that, my friend. Very nice of you. Much respect. And yeah, hopefully I'll get to 201,000 subscribers and you'll respect me again. Hey Daniel, I'm an editor. Should I switch to Davinci Resolve? I'm using Filmora 10 for a lifetime. What are the pros and cons? I actually did on my channel, I had Jay Littman on, and we compared Filmora 10 with Davinci because he's a Davinci guy. The pros of Filmora 10 is the lower system specs. You can run it on a not quite as fancy computer. Filmora 10 has really fast ease of use. Push button things happen. Boom, nice and easy. Drag and drop effects and transitions, really fast editing. It makes things really quick. So depending on the type of editing you're going to do, I like Filmora 10 as a daily driver. If you're making quick videos that, all the stuff you've seen on my channel that talks about Filmora, whatever software I'm talking about, that's the video editing software I use to make that video. So I use it all the time. I think it's great. I think it does what I need. But Davinci's higher tier. It's got all the built-in audio effects. It's got all the great color correction. You can do rotoscoping. You can do all kinds of crazy stuff. So if you want something that's higher functioning, but it's going to use a little more computer resources, that means you're going to have a stronger computer, and you're going to, and it's going to be a steeper learning curve. So it's not that simple 3-pane. Like Filmora is simple, right? There's like 3 panes. It's like the left, right, and then the timeline. That's not how Davinci Resolve works. It has 7 different windows, and in all the windows is all separate panes because it breaks everything down from color correction through audio through. It's really advanced, but it's free. The basic version is free and it's highly functioning. So I would say download it and try it because it's free. It doesn't cost you anything. See how it runs on your system. And see how you like it. If you're thinking about being a professional editor or sticking with it, and you think you're really going to do a lot more than Filmora will be able to do for you for higher tier stuff, then feel free to switch over to Davinci because I think it's a great software. It's well supported. It runs pretty well. And it's super high functioning. So I always say pick the one that's right for you. You'll know when you use something. Like not everybody has the same taste or the same style. So try something out, like Filmora has a free version with a watermark that, you can try before you buy. So you can say, do I even like this before I give them money? And Davinci too, their free version is insanely good. It's so many features, way more than Filmora, but it's free. And then they have a higher tier where you can pay to unlock a few more features. Let's see, what do we got going on here? Why do I always get these dumb questions? What do I think about cracked versions of Filmora? 1, don't steal software. If you stole from me, we'd have a problem. Don't steal software. The biggest reason you shouldn't steal software is it's illegal. Another reason you shouldn't steal software is you don't get any of the updates. The biggest reason you shouldn't steal software, you know why people give away cracked versions of software? So they can put hidden spyware, trojans, and malware in there and take control of your computer and find out your identity and find all your passwords and empty your bank accounts and shut down your computer. Really? because you didn't want to spend 50 or 60 bucks on Filmora? Come on. Stupid. Don't steal. Don't steal, because karma will get you when your computer's infected and shuts down. Don't do it. How much bitrate should I use to keep while exporting video, and at what kbps? Depends what you're doing. Most of the stuff I film is at about 50,000 kbps, because I like really, I use Sony cameras and I like the stuff to look really kind of crisp. What I would tell you is, when you export in almost any video editing software, unless you're working in RAW and you export in RAW, anything you add, software adds compression, which means the same way when you upload a video to YouTube, your video is going to be compressed and it's going to be lower quality. Not destroyed, it'll just be compressed down and it gets to be lower quality. Video editing software, including Filmora, does that as well. It adds compression. Depends on the software and what codec they're using, but it will compress it too. So I always tend to export at a higher resolution and higher bit rate to sort of offset that compression, right? So if I'm in 1080p, if I film something 1080p and it was at 50,000, 55,000 kbps, I'll export that, my final project, when I export it, I'll probably export that at 4K, like Ultra HD, and I'll put it up to 80,000, 100,000 kbps. So it's got a lot of high resolution and bitrate in it, so there's a lot of information that I'm offsetting the compression by telling the software to open up the amount of information it's adding to the export file. It doesn't make it look better. It's not like you can take crappy footage and then raise the resolution, all of a sudden it gets better looking. But what it can do is it can take something and offset some of the loss you would get from the export. How massive? 50,000 kbps. Not that big. That's just, it's not. My hard drive in my computer is only 2 terabytes, but then I run about six different external drives, external SSDs that are all, there's probably 8 or 10 terabytes of storage at any given point that I'm working with. Yeah, do what you use what you got, right? Hey, so like from the previous version question, can you shoot 21 by 9 ratio in HD, or 722 as a have to be 4K? No, you could do the, it would be, you have to do the math, right? So if 720 was the 9, you'd have to divide 720 by 9, and you'd have to, do the crop for that. And then what is 21 times the base value? And then it's a little bit of math there. But yeah, you don't have to go full 4K to get 21 by 9. 21 by 9 is just the relationship, right? So like 720 is actually 1280 by 720. So that and that's a 16 by 9. So you'd have to up the 16 to 21, so instead of 1280, it'd be, someone do the math for me, 18 something by 720. It would just be a different aspect ratio, but it could still be 720. 720 is usually the second number, defines the resolution. 1280 by 720 is considered 720p. 1920 by 1080 is considered 1080p, right? So it's the second number, which is the height, usually is what they use to consider the resolution. All right, I think I've covered enough here today. Hey, thanks for hanging out today. I'm going to be doing these every week. I just wanted to get in here, answer some questions, show you some of the new features, show you some tricks you could do in Filmora 10. Thanks you to everybody for the super chats. Were fantastic. I love it. You guys have been really nice to me. And I'll be doing this again. I'll make sure I announce them a little bit more in advance, and we'll do these every week. And any questions you have, feel free to drop them in the comments afterwards in the replay, and I'll get back down there and answer anything I wasn't able to get to in the chat. So you guys enjoy your day, and I will talk to you soon.